I've got some sheet metal here left over from building this cattle chute here. And I need to get these things stored. And what I do is put them against the wall over here. But it's kind of annoying because they're hard to get to. You know, it's hard to slide them in and out of there. So I have some channel iron left over from another project I did halfway recently. And I bought these casters for a different project. I actually have an idea to make a hand grinder tree. But since the casters are laying here and the scrap iron's laying here and I need to deal with the sheet metal right now, I'm going to go ahead and slap this together real quick. All I'm going to do is make a T out of this channel iron. I got a chunk that is 23 1/4 inches. And I got a chunk that is exactly 6 foot. So I'm just going to make a T out of these things and slap some casters under it. Put a couple upright bars on it so the sheet metal can set in there. That's it. I was just going to bolt the casters to the channel iron like this and run the channel iron upside down, but I decided I don't like that. I want the channel iron to be this way. So, and these casters won't swivel if they're up in there. I thought about cutting this back a little bit, but I have to cut it back a lot in order for that to clear, so I don't want to do that either. So I'm going to just cut some strap iron and go ahead and just span that gap. But I don't want them setting just up on top like that. I actually want them to go in a little bit. So I'm going to cut them at 4 1/2 so they recess down in there just a little bit. I always go back and forth between bolting on the casters or just welding them on. But it seems like in my experience that casters end up getting ruined in one way or another and you need to replace them. Yeah, it doesn't take very long to take the angle grinder and grind that weld off. But, you know, welding around this bearing too, you also risk ruining that, getting some splatter in there, and then it makes them hang up when they swivel. So I just prefer to bolt them, even though it takes longer. Bolt hole pattern worked out just exactly right. Yay! That'll sit down in there a little bit. So now I've got to figure out some way to clamp that in place. Weld all these plates on. This concrete isn't 100% flat here, and at the moment I don't have a table big enough that is cleaned off to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on the concrete, but I'm going to stick some scrap iron under it, and hopefully that will keep it in line. Back when I did the video on making a skate for my toolbox, basically replacing the casters on it, somebody sent me a link for caster mounts that the casters clamp into it. Makes them real easy to switch over. If you're looking to put casters on your project and you want them removable, don't want to mess around with the bolts, I think these things might be kind of neat. I haven't used it, and if I'd planned ahead, I probably would have actually tried them out on this project. A three-wheel design like this means all three wheels will always be in contact. You know, if you have four wheels, it seems like a lot of times one wheel comes up off the ground all the time. So three's the way to go. Plus, we'll take up a little bit less room that way too. So I just did a little eyeballing, kind of seeing what I wanted the angle to be, how far tilted I want the sheet metal, because I don't want to be straight up and down. And it looks like about 10 degrees is going to be perfect. There's definitely a little more flex to that than I thought there would be. This would be a lot stronger if I used rectangular tubing. So my suggestion, don't use channel iron. However, I'm just using what I got on hand. But after thinking about it for a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and try adding a cross brace on one side here. I'm going to go down from the top of this channel iron back to the corner here of the T and just see if that'll help a little bit. Yeah, that's just... Oh yeah. Can you see that? Picks up the other wheel now. That's impressive. Huge change. I have to say this is not an instructional video by any means. Most of my videos are not. This is just a video that's my experience. This is quite literally a brain fart I had. Looked around the shop, see what scrap I had, and built something in under 2 hours out of the stuff I had laying around. So, you know, necessity is a mother, right? That's what this is. I needed something. It was time to do it. I just realized something I should do is put like little stubs of strap iron up on edge, like maybe 2 of them, so I could separate the size of the metal, and so this metal doesn't slide down and go across over here to stop itself. Does that make sense? Just like those little things right there. That way the sheet metal can be divided in different groups if you want, or just keep it from sliding around at the bottom. I also have to say, in hindsight, I'd probably go ahead and make it 4-wheeled. I only had 3 casters because these 3 casters for a different project. But there's enough flex in this that 4 wheels would definitely be able to flex enough, and you wouldn't have any problems with it. And it'd be a little bit more stable too. You're not going to know what to do when I get rid of this thing, are you? To build you a doghouse this size, huh? I only want to build you a $5,000 doghouse, though. Sorry.